Hey guys, meteorologist Chris Tomer here with this On the Snow Before You Go forecast. Be sure to hit the subscribe button so you get notified when my latest forecasts come out. All right, here's what I'm looking at over the next 7, 8, 9 days. Powerful jet stream continues, active March flow pattern, and it should deliver 3 storm systems at least through 323 with feet of accumulation, as you're going to see coming up. Let me just give you the lay of the land here as far as the storm track goes. This is water vapor satellite imagery. Oranges and reds are your drier air in the low levels. Your moisture's in the whites and the blues. And so there's a couple of different things going on here. We've got energy moving into the west. Got another area of low pressure behind that, and then another one behind that. So an active flow. All of these storm systems will track into the west. The West Coast, the Pacific Northwest, and then eventually they'll all slide into the Intermountain West, the Intermountain Rockies, over the course of time. All right, let me show you my snow timeline. Best odds of snow by date. So if you were to say one of the best powder days, it's going to be these dates right here. Big Sky, the Wasatch, Tetons, Colorado, Interior BC, the Pacific Northwest, Tahoe, and the Northeast. So for example, again, roughly 3 different storm systems here. In Big Sky, 316 through 18, heavy. Moderate, 320, and then heavy on 322. In the Wasatch, it's very similar, 3 storms. In the Tetons, it's 3 different storms. In Colorado, you've got a storm system on 317, 318 heavy accumulation, another one on 321, and then another one on 322. So again, few different storm systems tracking from the west through the Intermountain West. In Tahoe, you've got a storm coming in on 317 with big time accumulations, and then a final storm system around 1920 with moderate. I don't have much for the Northeast until we get potentially late into the 20th, into the 21st with some snow accumulation there. Otherwise, it's going to be rain initially. We're just getting to that time of the year, but rain late 316 into 317. Here's another way of looking at this. My spider chart odds of best snow over the next roughly 7, 8, 9 days. More purple, higher on the web, better odds of new snow. That's Colorado, that's Utah, that's Wyoming, that's Idaho, that's Montana. I mean, it's most of the West. The Northeast would be lower on this, less purple because of the rain event coming. But I mean, it's going to be, in northern New Mexico might be a touch lower too, but it's going to be tough to miss if you're out west in the storm pattern. Okay, let's talk about the jet stream forecast. So you're looking at winds up at about 30,000 feet in the atmosphere right here. And we'll start this early on Monday, March 17th. I'm looking for the brighter colors, the oranges, the reds, the tans. That's going to be your higher winds, stronger winds up at 30,000 feet. Then what you want to look for are these dips in the jet, these troughs, these areas of low pressure. You can see there's one coming into the west coast there. You can see the dip in the jet. All right, let's move this ahead. So then that storm system moves through the Intermountain West. This is early on Tuesday, March 18th. It's sliding through Nevada, Idaho, Montana, Wyoming, Utah, Colorado. Look at that storm system. So there's early on Wednesday, March 19th. It's sliding out of Colorado, out of Wyoming on the 19th, and out into the heartland. And then we look for our next storm, and here it comes. Dip in the jet stream right there. This is early on Thursday, March 20th. That moves through the Intermountain West. And then we look for the next one. There's another little kink across the northern tier. This is early on the 22nd. And then potentially one more little storm for the northern tier right there, Pacific Northwest northern tier. There's the 23rd into the 24th. And then this indicates a little bit of high pressure ridging by the time we get into the 25th across the west. You can see the arcing to the north of the jet and a big trough sitting over the Great Lakes and the Ohio Valley. Big dip in the jet right there. So it's going to be active through the 23rd. I mean, that's the bottom line. Snow forecast accumulation over time. So on this forecast model, we're going to start this early on Monday, March 17th. Anything in the blue colors, under 3 inches of accumulation. Greens are 3 to 6, yellow 6 plus, reds are 10 plus, and you can see where it's heaviest. Okay, let's move this ahead in time. Here comes the snow. The next shot, this is early on Tuesday, March 18th, hitting Utah, Wyoming, into Colorado with moderate to heavy snow accumulation. And there's early on Wednesday, March 19th, the storm system sliding out into the heartland. Next storm system, Pacific Northwest Northern Tier. Here's early on Thursday, March 20th. That slides through Wyoming, Montana, Idaho, Utah, and Colorado. There's early on Friday, March 21st. And another storm system hitting the Pacific Northwest. That also comes down Somewhat of a northwest flow slides through Montana, Idaho. So this is early on Saturday, March 22nd, brushing Utah, Wyoming, and Colorado. And there you go. That's at least, and there's one more storm right here coming out of the Pacific Northwest. That's at least three storms, if not four. This is probably midday on Sunday, March 23rd, right there. All right, snow forecast accumulation. My numbers, all of 317 through 323, looking at generally 1 to 3 feet in the Wasatch. The higher end totals are going to be up in Little and Big Cottonwood Canyons, about a foot down in Bryant Head, maybe 8 down in Snowbowl, Arizona Snowbowl. Now, in Colorado, it's generally 1 to 2 feet. You might even call it 10 to 20 inches, somewhere in that range. And there's some really good numbers, even across the I-70 corridor in the Summit County up on the Continental Divide, looking at 16 to 18 inches of accumulation. Loveland, A Basin, Keystone, Winter Park, down to Breck, Copper, Vale. So good stuff. Less as you go into northern New Mexico. In Wyoming, looking at a couple of feet there through the Tetons. In Montana, about a foot. Idaho does really well from Brundage north to Schweitzer, looking at 2 to 2.5 feet of accumulation and about 12 to 15 inches through interior BC, from Fernie to Revelstoke to Kicking Horse and Red Mountain. Less as you drop down into Sunshine and Marmot. 1 to 4 feet across the Pacific Northwest. In California, about 10 to 12 at Mammoth and potentially still 2 feet around Tahoe and about 30 up at Shasta. So this is going to be a big period. There's no question. Up in the Northeast, so you've got a rain event coming late 316 into early 317. And then you've got a chance of some snow late 320 into 321. And that's where I accumulate most of these numbers, up to 6 to 8 inches there over parts of northern New Hampshire and parts of Maine, 5 or 6 over central and northern Vermont. And I think that's going to do it. All right, guys, we're going to end on the big western map here all the way through 323. And we've got plenty of powder days ahead with 3, maybe 4 storm systems all the way through 323. Guys, thanks for tuning in here to this On the Snow Before You Go forecast. I appreciate it. Take care and have a great day.